You are in pain because you are holding on to a lie. The lie is beautiful, seductive, and comforting. It is the lie that the world is fair, that people are inherently good, and that if you do the right thing, you will be rewarded. This lie was fed to you by your parents, your teachers, and your society to keep you compliant. They wanted a good citizen, not a powerful man. And because you believe them, every betrayal feels like a shock. Every injustice feels like a personal attack. You are walking through a battlefield expecting a picnic, and you are bleeding because of it. The moment you accept the darkness of the world is the moment you become invincible. When you stop expecting people to be angels, you stop being disappointed when they act like demons. When you stop expecting the system to be just, you stop wasting energy complaining about its corruption. You start navigating the terrain as it is, not as you wish it to be. This is the ultimate liberation. It is the death of the victim and the birth of the strategist. If you are ready to strip away the illusions that keep you weak and embrace the cold, hard truth of power, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We are building a council of the awake, and if you are still watching, you belong here. The first step to true invincibility is the acceptance of human nature. Most people live in a state of perpetual denial. They project their own values onto others. They think, I wouldn't betray my friend, so he won't betray me. This is a fatal error. Niccolo Machiavelli, the man who stared into the abyss of human psychology and didn't blink, warned us that men are not driven by gratitude or honor. They are driven by self-interest. In The Prince, he wrote, "For of men it may generally be affirmed that they are thankless, fickle, false, studious to avoid danger, greedy of gain, devoted to you while you are able to confer benefits upon them." Read that again. Thankless, fickle, false. This is not cynicism, it is observation. When you accept this as the baseline, nothing can hurt you. If a friend betrays you, you are not heartbroken. You are validated. You think, ah yes, human nature in action. You saw it coming because you weren't blinded by hope. You were watching with clear eyes. This acceptance does not make you bitter. Paradoxically, it makes you calmer. It allows you to forgive people, not because they deserve it, but because you understand they are simply acting according to their programming. A scorpion stings. A liar lies. A coward runs. Getting angry at them is like getting angry at the rain. The rain doesn't care about your anger. You simply put up an umbrella and keep walking. You must also accept the gap between the ideal and the real. We are raised on stories of heroes and villains, where good always triumphs. But in the real world, the good guy often finishes last because he is bound by rules that the bad guy ignores. The bad guy wins because he is willing to do what is necessary, not just what is polite. Machiavelli famously noted that trying to be virtuous in a world that is not virtuous is a recipe for ruin. How we live is so different from how we ought to live that he who studies what ought to be done rather than what is done will learn the way to his downfall rather than to his preservation. The way to his downfall. Think of how many times you have sabotaged yourself by trying to be fair to people who were trying to destroy you. Think of how many opportunities you missed because you were waiting for the right way to do things. The world rewards effectiveness, not morality. This is a dark truth, but it is the truth. Once you accept it, you stop hesitating. You stop asking for permission. You realize that the only thing that matters is the result. This doesn't mean you have to become evil. It means you have to become capable of navigating evil. You have to understand the weapons of your enemy so you can defend against them. A harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a dangerous man who has his danger under control. The pain you feel comes from the friction between your expectations and reality. You expect loyalty, you get betrayal, friction. You expect justice, you get corruption, friction. The only way to eliminate the friction is to align your expectations with reality. When you expect the world to be dark, every act of kindness becomes a pleasant surprise rather than a requirement. You start to appreciate the light because you know how rare it is. Machiavelli also taught that fear is a more reliable tool than love. We want to be loved, we want to be liked, but love is fickle. It changes with the wind. Fear, specifically the fear of consequences, is constant. If you build your life on the hope that people will love you, you are building on sand. If you build your life on the understanding that people respect strength, you are building on rock. It is much safer to be feared than loved because love is preserved by the link of obligation which, owing to the baseness of men, is broken at every opportunity for their advantage. But fear preserves you by a dread of punishment which never fails. This is the armor you need. When you stop needing people to love you, you become untouchable. You stop dancing for their approval. You stop compromising your values to fit in. You realize that their opinion of you is irrelevant to your survival. You are about to embark on a journey through the darkest aspects of Machiavellian psychology. We are going to explore how to kill your naive optimism, how to become a master of suspicion, and how to find power in solitude. But first, you must signal to yourself that you are ready to let go of the fairy tale. Go to the comments right now and write this affirmation. I see the world as it is. Write it to prove that you are done with the lies. You are ready for the truth. You have accepted the dark reality of the world. You have accepted that people are driven by self-interest and that morality is often just a mask for weakness. But accepting this intellectually is one thing. Living it is another. The most dangerous habit you must now break is the habit of blind trust. You have been conditioned to believe that trust is the foundation of relationships. You have been taught that if you trust others, they will trust you. This is the logic of the nursery. In the real world, trust is not a virtue, it is a vulnerability. The second step to becoming untouchable is to murder your need to trust. You must cultivate a healthy, strategic paranoia. This does not mean you become a hermit or a cynic who hates everyone. It means you become a realist who understands that loyalty is conditional. People are loyal to their own needs, not to you. As long as your interests align with theirs, they will stand by you. The moment those interests diverge, the betrayal is not just possible, it is probable. Niccolo Machiavelli, who saw the rise and fall of princes firsthand, advised that a wise leader should never rely on the faith of others. He understood that promises are merely words, and words are cheap. In The Prince, he wrote, "If men were all good, this precept would not be good. But as they are bad, and would not observe their faith with you, so you are not bound to keep faith with them." Internalize this rule. They would not observe their faith with you. Stop projecting your own code of honor onto people who do not share it. You might be the kind of person who keeps their word even when it hurts. Most people are not. Most people will break a promise the second it becomes inconvenient. If you build your life on the assumption that others will keep their word, you are building a castle on a sinkhole. This upgrade requires you to shift from trust to verification. Do not trust that your colleague will give you credit for your idea. Verify it by documenting your work. Do not trust that your partner will stay with you forever. Verify their commitment by observing their actions, not their words. Do not trust that your friend has your back, but watch how they speak about others to you, because that is exactly how they speak about you to others. Machiavelli warned that men are fundamentally unreliable unless they are forced to be honest. He wrote, "Men will always prove untrue to you unless they are kept honest by constraint." Kept honest by constraint. This is the key. You do not get loyalty by being nice. You get loyalty by creating a structure where it is in their best interest to be loyal. If the only reason someone hasn't betrayed you is because they haven't had a good enough offer yet, you are not safe. You are just lucky. You must create constraints, leverage, dependency, or fear that make betrayal too costly for them. This sounds cold, but it is actually the only way to have real relationships. when you stop blindly trusting people. You stop burdening them with expectations they cannot meet. You accept them as they are, flawed, self-interested creatures. This acceptance brings a strange kind of peace. You are no longer shocked when people act like people. You are prepared. You must also learn to conceal your own intentions. If you tell everyone your plans, you are handing them the weapons to destroy you. The open book policy is a disaster in a competitive world. When you reveal your goals, you trigger envy, you trigger sabotage, you give people the information they need to block you. Machiavelli advised that a prudent man should be a great pretender and dissembler. He should wear a mask of conformity while plotting his true course in silence. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Be the fox. Move in silence. Let people think you are average. Let them think you are harmless. While they are busy underestimating you, you are busy outmaneuvering them. The element of surprise is the greatest multiplier of force. If they don't know what you are doing, they cannot stop you. This level of secrecy protects your energy. When you share your dreams with doubters, their negativity drains you. When you share your fears with manipulators, they use them against you. Your mind must be a fortress. Only the most proven allies, and they should be very few, get entry. Everyone else gets the curated version of you. They get the mask. This path of strategic paranoia will save you from the heartbreak that destroys weaker men. You will no longer be the guy who says, "I never saw it coming." You will always see it coming. You will see the subtle shifts in tone, the avoided eye contact, the slight delays in response. You will read the subtext while everyone else is distracted by the text. You are building an immunity to betrayal. When you expect nothing, everything is a bonus. When you trust no one, you rely only on yourself. And self-reliance is the only true security in a world of shifting alliances. But once you have accepted the darkness and killed your need for trust, you will face a new challenge. You will realize that you are alone. The herd will look different to you. You will no longer fit in. This isolation can be terrifying, or it can be the source of your greatest power. The next step is learning how to turn solitude into a weapon. I want you to confirm that you are ready to close the gates of your mind. Go to the comments and write this affirmation. I trust my own eyes. Write it to remind yourself that your observation is superior to their promises. You have accepted the dark nature of the world. You have accepted that men are fickle, greedy, and deceptive. You have killed the naive boy inside you who blindly trusts the smiles of strangers. But as you strip away these illusions, you will inevitably face a consequence that terrifies the average man. You will look around and you will realize that you are alone. The herd will no longer feel like home. The conversations that used to entertain you, the gossip, the complaining, the petty dramas, will now feel draining. You will feel a distance growing between you and the people you once called friends. The system wants you to panic in this moment. It wants you to feel lonely. It wants you to rush back into the crowd to apologize for your growth and to beg for readmittance to the group. This is the test. The average man fails this test every time. He cannot bear the silence of his own mind. He needs the noise of the herd to drown out his insecurity. But the prince, the man who is rising to power, knows that this isolation is not a punishment. It is a promotion. Solitude is the forge where greatness is hammered into shape. If you cannot walk alone, you cannot lead. If you cannot stand in the silence without crumbling, you are not a ruler. You are a dependent. Niccolo Machiavelli, who spent his most productive years in exile, understood the profound necessity of solitude. He did not write The Prince while partying in the piazzas of Florence. He wrote it in the quiet of his study, stripped of his office, alone with his thoughts and the ghosts of history. He realized that the crowd is a beast that drags you down to its lowest common denominator. To think clearly, to plan strategically, and to see the world as it is, you must step away from the noise. In The Prince, Machiavelli warns against the danger of relying on others for your strength. He famously criticized the use of mercenaries and auxiliaries, armies that you do not own. He argued that a prince must rely on his own arms. This applies to your mind as much as it does to warfare. If your self-esteem, your decisions, and your happiness depend on the validation of others, you are using mental mercenaries. And just like mercenaries, they will abandon you when the battle gets hard. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise prince should establish himself on that which is in his own control, and not in that of others. Establish himself on that which is in his own control." Solitude is the ultimate form of control. When you are alone, you are sovereign. There is no one to impress. There is no one to perform for. There is only you and your reality. Most people are terrified of this because when they are alone, they have to face themselves. They have to face their mediocrity, their fears, and their lack of purpose. So they turn on the TV, they scroll through social media, they call a friend, anything to escape the confrontation with the self. You must do the opposite. You must embrace the void. You must learn to sit in a room alone and feel the power that comes from needing nothing from the outside world. The first realization of solitude is the death of groupthink. The herd operates on a hive mind. In a group, the individual IQ drops. People agree with things they don't believe just to fit in. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny. They adopt values that are not their own because the fear of ostracization is stronger than the love of truth. This is why the average is so dangerous. The average is a collective hallucination. When you step away from the herd, you regain your mind. You start to see things that others miss. You notice the patterns of manipulation in the news. You see the cracks in the economy that others ignore. You see the true intentions of people because you are watching from a distance, not dancing in the circle. The wolf watches the flock from the ridge. He sees the predator, he sees the weak points, and he sees the path. The sheep only sees the wool of the sheep in front of him. Machiavelli observed that men in general judge more by the sense of sight than by the sense of touch, because everyone can see but few can test by feeling. The crowd is easily fooled by appearances. They move as a wave, reacting to emotional stimuli, fear, outrage, hope. By separating yourself from the crowd, you detach from that emotional wave. You become the observer of the storm, not the debris floating in it. The second realization is the conservation of energy. Have you ever noticed how exhausted you feel after spending time with mediocre people? That is because you are leaking energy. You are constantly modulating your frequency to match theirs. You are suppressing your true thoughts to avoid conflict. You are feigning interest in trivialities. This is a massive tax on your spirit. Solitude seals the leaks. When you walk alone, you keep 100% of your energy. You can pour that energy into your mission, your body, and your bank account. The reason the lone wolf archetype is so powerful is that the wolf is efficient. He does not waste energy barking at the moon. He hunts. This does not mean you become a hermit. It means you become selective. The prince has allies, but he does not have friends in the modern, needy sense of the word. He has a small inner circle of competent, loyal individuals who bring value to his life. Everyone else is an acquaintance. Everyone else is kept at arm's length. Machiavelli advised, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. If you are surrounded by fools, you are a fool. If you are surrounded by victims, you are a victim. It is better to be alone than to be in bad company." Solitude is the filter. When you are comfortable being alone, you no longer tolerate disrespect just to have someone to talk to. You set the standard high. You signal to the world, "I am perfectly happy on my own. If you want to be in my life, you must be better than my solitude." That is a high bar, and only the best people can clear it. The third realization is the strategy of the shadow. In a world where everyone is obsessed with being seen, there is immense power in being invisible. Social media has trained a generation to broadcast their every move. They post their workouts, their meals, their relationships, and their business plans. They are desperate for the dopamine hit of a like. This transparency is suicide. When you tell the world what you are doing, you give them the ammunition to stop you. You trigger their envy. You allow them to sabotage you. Solitude allows you to move in the dark. It allows you to build your empire in silence. By the time the world realizes what you have done, it is too late for them to stop you. Machiavelli knew that great enterprises must be matured in secrecy. He praised the ruler who could keep his own counsel. He wrote, "A prince who is not wise himself cannot be well advised." This means you must develop your own wisdom before you seek the advice of others. You must know your own mind. If you are constantly asking others, "What should I do?" you are confessing that you are not the leader of your own life. Solitude forces you to make decisions. It forces you to trust your gut. It builds the muscle of self-reliance. But be warned, the walk of the wolf is not easy. It is cold. There will be Friday nights when you are working on your future while everyone else is out drinking. There will be moments when you doubt yourself because no one is there to validate you. You will feel the phantom limb of your old social life. This pain is the feeling of weakness leaving the body. It is the feeling of your identity restructuring itself from subject to sovereign. You must learn to reframe loneliness as solitude. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the glory of being alone. Loneliness is a craving for company. Solitude is the enjoyment of your own company. The weak man is lonely. The ruthless man is solitary. When you master this, you become dangerous. A man who does not need people cannot be manipulated by people. You cannot threaten him with rejection because he does not fear it. You cannot bribe him with inclusion because he does not crave it. He is a fortress that has its own water supply and its own food. You cannot siege him. This power scares people. When you stop chasing them, they start chasing you. They sense that you have access to a source of strength that they lack. They want to be around you to absorb some of it. But now, you have the power to choose. You can open the gate, or you can keep it shut. You are building a life that is anti-fragile. The crowd is fragile. If one panics, they all panic. You are solid. But solitude is not the end goal. Solitude is the training ground. It is where you build the weapons you will use to conquer the world. Once you are strong enough to stand alone, you must learn how to re-enter the game. You must learn how to interact with the world not with neediness, but with a terrifying kind of indifference. You need to solidify this independence. You need to prove to your subconscious that you are enough. Go to the comments right now and write this affirmation. I am strongest when I am alone. Write it to remind yourself that your power comes from within, not from the herd. You have learned to accept the dark nature of the world, to kill your naive need for trust, and to embrace the clarifying power of solitude. You have built a fortress around your mind, but a fortress is defensive. You cannot conquer the world if you stay locked inside forever. Eventually, you must lower the drawbridge and ride out. You must engage with the very people you have learned to distrust. The question is, how do you do this without getting hurt? How do you interact with a toxic world without becoming toxic yourself? The answer lies in the art of offensive indifference. Most people think of indifference as passivity. They think it means not caring, giving up, or being lazy. This is defensive indifference, hiding from the world because you are afraid of it. Offensive indifference is different. It is a weapon. It is the ability to care so little about the opinions of others that your lack of reaction becomes a force of nature. It is the ability to look at a chaotic situation, shrug, and continue with your plan. It is the power to say, "So what?" to the things that paralyze everyone else. Niccolo Machiavelli understood that a leader who is easily rattled by criticism or setbacks appears weak. A prince must maintain majesty. He must seem above the fray. If he reacts to every insult, he lowers himself to the level of the insulter. If he panics at every problem, he loses the confidence of his subjects. Machiavelli wrote, "Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration. All men have eyes. They are watching you. They are waiting for you to flinch. When you refuse to flinch, when you treat a crisis like a minor inconvenience, you project a terrifying level of competence. You appear larger than life. You become the immovable object in a world of unstoppable forces." The first component of offensive indifference is the rejection of drama. The world loves drama. It loves to pull you into arguments, into gossip, into the latest outrage. Drama is a vampire. It feeds on your attention. The moment you engage with it, you lose. You are giving your precious energy to something that gives nothing back. The Machiavellian response to drama is silence. It is a bored look. It is the refusal to pick up the rope in the tug of war. When someone tries to provoke you, do not defend yourself. Do not counterattack. Just look at them as if they are a child throwing a tantrum. Your indifference insults them more than any word could. It tells them, "You are not significant enough to affect my emotional state." The second component is the decoupling of action from outcome. This is the stoic core of Machiavellian execution. The average man is obsessed with the outcome. He worries. Will this work? What if I fail? What if they say no? This anxiety cripples his performance. He tries too hard. He reeks of desperation. Offensive indifference focuses entirely on the action. You do the work because it needs to be done, not because you are addicted to the result. You make the sales call, not because you need the sale, but because you are a master of the process. You speak your truth, not to convince them, but because it is your truth. When you stop needing the outcome, you become dangerous. You can negotiate without fear. You can walk away from the table. You can take risks that paralyze others because you have already accepted the worst-case scenario. Machiavelli advised that fortune favors the bold, those who are not afraid to act. It is better to be impetuous than cautious because fortune is a woman. And if you want to keep her under, it is necessary to beat her and force her down. Fortune responds to energy. It responds to the man who moves with certainty, even when he has no guarantees. Indifference removes the friction of fear, allowing you to move with pure, unadulterated speed. The third component is the irony of validation. The more you seek validation, the less you get. The more you try to impress people, the more they look down on you. It is the try-hard paradox. The moment you stop trying to impress, the moment you become indifferent to their applause, they start chasing you. They wonder why you don't need them. They project confidence onto your silence. Stop explaining yourself. Stop apologizing for your choices. Stop waiting for permission. Act. If they like it, good. If they don't, good. Your path remains the same. This indifference makes you magnetic. In a world of beggars, the man who asks for nothing is king. But be careful. Offensive indifference is not arrogance. Arrogance is loud. Indifference is quiet. Arrogance needs an audience. Indifference is content in solitude. Arrogance is fragile. Indifference is anti-fragile. You are not saying, "I am better than you." You are saying, "I am independent of you." When you master this, the pain stops. The insults of others become like noise in the background, irritating perhaps, but incapable of wounding you. You realize that their behavior is about them, not you. You see their attacks as symptoms of their own weakness, not a judgment on your value. You have now traversed the darkness. You accepted the reality of human nature. You killed the weakness of blind trust. You found the power in solitude. And you learned to weaponize indifference. You are no longer the person who clicked on the first video. You are sharper. You are colder. You are more real. But there is one final lesson, the most important one. It is the lesson of purpose. Because if you have all this power and nowhere to direct it, you will just be a highly efficient nihilist. You need a kingdom to rule. I want you to cement this final shift in your psyche. I want you to prove that you are no longer a slave to the opinions of the herd. Go to the comments right now and write this affirmation: I do not seek, I attract. Write it to remind yourself that the world comes to those who do not chase it. You have survived the initial shock of reality. You have accepted the darkness of human nature, killed your need for trust, mastered the power of solitude, and learned the art of offensive indifference. You are now stripped of the illusions that keep the masses weak. But stripping away weakness is not the same as building strength. A man can be cynical and solitary and still be a failure. The final stage of your evolution is not about what you reject. It is about what you create. The ultimate Machiavellian lesson is that power is not a static object you find. It is a structure you build. And you cannot build it if you are still living in the world of reaction. You must transition to the world of creation. You must become the architect of a new order. Niccolò Machiavelli knew that the most difficult thing a human being can attempt is to change the status quo. The world is designed to resist change. It is designed to crush innovators. He wrote, "It ought to be remembered that there is nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success, than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things." A new order of things. This is your mission. You are not here to fit into someone else's order. You are here to establish your own. This means building your own business, your own body, your own family culture, your own code of conduct. It means rejecting the path of least resistance and hacking a new path through the jungle. The first pillar of your grand strategy is the conquest of fortune. The average man believes in luck. He waits for his big break. He blames bad luck for his failures. The prince knows that fortune is a force, but it is not a master. Machiavelli famously compared fortune to a violent river that floods the plains. The foolish man watches the river and prays it doesn't drown him. The wise man builds dikes and canals before the flood comes, so that when the water rises, it is channeled into power, not destruction. I compare her to one of those raging rivers, which when in flood overflows the plains. Yet though its nature be such, it does not follow therefore that men, when the weather becomes fair, shall not make provision, both with defenses and barriers. You must build your dikes now. Financial independence is a dike against the flood of poverty. Physical strength is a dike against the flood of violence or illness. Emotional control is a dike against the flood of manipulation. When you prepare for the worst, you rob fortune of her power to destroy you. You become anti-fragile. The second pillar is the weaponization of time. The masses waste time because they think they have an infinite supply. They scroll, they wait, they procrastinate. The prince understands that time is the only non-renewable resource. Every second you spend arguing with a fool is a second you are not building your empire. Every hour you spend consuming mind-numbing content is an hour you are not sharpening your blade. You must become ruthless with your time. Treat it like a besieged city treats its water supply. Guard it, ration it. Do not give it to anyone who does not yield a return on investment. This is not selfishness. It is strategy. If you want to rise, you must say no to almost everything so you can say yes to the one thing that matters. The third pillar is the mastery of purpose. A man without a purpose is a ship without a rudder. He will be pushed around by every current and every wind. The world is full of people who want to use you for their purpose. Your boss has a purpose for you. Your partner has a purpose for you. The algorithm has a purpose for you. If you do not have your own, you will become a slave to theirs. You need a grand strategy for your life. What is the end point? What is the legacy? Do not be vague. I want to be rich is not a strategy. It is a wish. I will acquire X assets by Y date by leveraging Z skills is a strategy. Machiavelli advised that a prince should have no other thought or object than war and its orders. For you, war is the struggle against mediocrity. It is the daily campaign to expand your territory, mental, physical, and financial. And finally, you must accept the burden of command. When you rise, you become responsible. You can no longer blame the system, the economy, or your parents. You are the king of your own life, and the king takes the blame for everything that happens in his kingdom. This is a heavy weight. It crushes the weak, but it strengthens the strong. There is a terrifying freedom in taking total responsibility. It means that if your life is a mess, you can fix it. If you are broke, you can fix it. If you are lonely, you can fix it. You stop waiting for a savior because you look in the mirror and realize the savior has arrived. You have now walked the full path. You started by accepting the darkness. You killed your trust. You embraced solitude. You weaponized indifference. And now you have committed to building a new order. This is not a transformation that happens overnight. It is a daily war against your own weakness. The old you, the one who wants to be liked, the one who wants to be safe, will try to come back. He will whisper to you when you are tired. He will tell you to just give in, to just be normal. You must silence him. You must remind yourself that the pain of discipline is far less than the pain of regret. The world is dark, yes, but it is also malleable. It yields to the hand that is firm enough to mold it. Be that hand. I want you to make one final, definitive declaration to seal this series. I want you to claim your sovereignty before the universe. Go to the comments right now and write this affirmation. I am the architect of my fate. Write it to prove that you are no longer a victim of circumstance, but a creator of destiny. If this series has handed you the keys to your own power, if it has woken you up from the sedation of modern society, then you know what to do. This channel is a library of forbidden wisdom. If you want to keep your blade sharp, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Share this video with the few who are worthy of the truth. We are building a council of the strong. Welcome to the inner circle.